What if one act of kindness could change your life forever? A mechanic fixes a stranger's car for free, thinking it's just another routine job. But what he finds inside the car turns everything upside down, forcing him to face unexpected dangers and life-changing choices. Welcome to Untold Narratives. Let's get started. Mark is a man of modest means, and for over a decade, he's been working in the same small garage, quietly earning a reputation for his mechanical expertise. The walls of his shop, cluttered with tools and car parts, seem to echo his life. Steady, reliable, yet worn down by years of constant work. His garage is more than just a place of business. It's his sanctuary. Mark doesn't have the luxury of fancy equipment or a shiny showroom, but what he lacks in resources, he makes up for with skill and heart. Mark is deeply passionate about fixing cars. Each engine he repairs, each transmission he rebuilds, feels like a small victory to him. He takes pride in his work, knowing that with every car he fixes, he's helping someone get back on the road. His reputation has spread, not just because of his talent, but because of his reputation for kindness. He's the mechanic people trust not only with their cars, but also with their problems. If someone is in need, Mark is always ready to lend a hand, even if it means sacrificing his own time, money, or energy. His motivations are simple: to help others, to do good, and to make things right. Mark's backstory isn't a pretty one. He's been through a painful divorce that has left deep emotional and financial scars. The separation from his wife was messy, and it left him in a spiral of loneliness and guilt. His daughter, once the center of his world, now only visits sporadically, and every missed moment with her weighs heavily on him. Mark still loves her deeply, but he can't shake the feeling that he's failed her, that he wasn't there when she needed him the most. The divorce took something out of him, and he hasn't been able to rebuild that part of himself. He's become a shadow of the man he once was, optimistic, full of dreams, always looking for ways to make a positive impact. Now Mark spends his days working late into the night, in his quiet garage, trying to keep his business afloat, trying to ignore the regret that gnaws at him. The long hours are a way to escape his personal failures, but they also leave him feeling disconnected. He's become withdrawn, avoiding friends and family, too consumed by the weight of his past mistakes. Deep down, he knows he's not the man he once was, but he's still clinging to the belief that he can turn things around, that he can still find redemption through acts of kindness. Despite everything, Mark hasn't lost his faith in the good he can do in the world, even if it feels like a distant memory. In his quiet moments, Mark reflects on the life he once dreamed of, the family he lost, and the man he used to be. But in those same moments, he also recognizes that there is still hope, still a chance for him to make a difference. Even if he's not the man he once was, he knows he can still try to be a better one. The question is, will his next act of kindness be the one that changes everything for him? It's a dreary afternoon, the kind where the rain falls incessantly, washing the streets clean, but leaving the air thick with unease. Inside his small cluttered garage, Mark works alone, his hands busy with a worn-out engine. The rhythmic sound of the rain, tapping against the roof, is the only noise, a comforting constant in his otherwise solitary world. That is, until the sound of tires, splashing through the puddles outside, breaks his focus. A stranger pulls up in an old, battered car, the kind that looks like it's seen better days long ago. The vehicle shudders to a halt in front of the garage, and the man inside, drenched from the rain, steps out, his face worn with stress. He's an older man, his clothes disheveled, and his eyes filled with a certain desperation. The man approaches Mark, his voice shaky as he explains his situation. "I don't have the money to fix it," the stranger says, his hands trembling. "I've tried everywhere, but no one will help me. I can barely afford to keep the car running. Please, I'm just trying to get by." Mark listens, his heart aching, as he recognizes the weight of the man's struggle. He knows what it's like to be down on his luck, to feel the pressure of a world that doesn't care. Without a second thought, Mark makes his decision. "I'll fix it for you," Mark says, surprising himself with his own words. "No charge. You've got enough on your plate already." The stranger looks at him, wide-eyed, as if he can't believe his ears. "You don't have to do that." "I can't." Mark holds up his hand, cutting him off gently. "Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Consider it a gift. Just pay it forward, okay?" The decision feels right. It reminds Mark of who he used to be before life stripped away his optimism. Helping others had once been second nature to him. But lately, he's become so wrapped up in his own struggles that he'd almost forgotten what it felt like to make a difference. This act of kindness, though small, feels like a breath of fresh air, a reminder that he's not beyond redemption. As Mark works, the rain continues to pour down, but inside the garage, the atmosphere is quiet and focused. He gets to work on the car, his hands moving with practiced ease. His mind drifts briefly, thinking about his daughter, wondering if he'll ever find a way to make things right with her. But for now his focus is on the car in front of him, on the stranger's plight, and on doing what he can. Hours later, the car is ready. Mark wipes his hands on a rag, and calls out to the stranger. But just as he's about to hand over the keys, something catches his eye. A duffel bag tucked away in the trunk of the car, partially hidden under a spare tire. It wasn't there before, and curiosity nudges at Mark. He hesitates, but can't resist. Slowly, he opens the bag, and his eyes widen in shock. Stacks of cash, piles and piles of crisp bills. He counts them quickly in his mind. Millions of dollars, all hidden away like some illicit treasure. The world seems to tilt for a moment. Mark's breath catches in his chest, and a cold shiver runs down his spine. His mind races. What is this? Why was it hidden in the trunk of this car? His heart pounds in his chest as a new, unfamiliar feeling fills him. Fear. Not just fear for his own safety, but a moral dilemma he can't ignore. Should he report this to the authorities? Could he risk his own well-being by doing the right thing? But then another thought enters his mind. What if he stays quiet? What if he just lets the man drive away? No questions asked, keeping the money for himself. The temptation is real, but something deep inside tells him that taking that route would make him no better than the people he's always tried to avoid. People who take shortcuts, people who betray their morals for the sake of personal gain. Mark stands frozen, torn between what's right and what's easy. Should he confront the stranger? Should he turn him in? Or should he take the safer path and say nothing, pretending he never found the money? The rain continues to fall outside, but inside Mark's mind, the storm is just beginning. Mark stands frozen in front of the duffel bag, the weight of the situation pressing heavily on his chest. His mind races, torn between the urge to walk away and the deep-seated desire to do the right thing. He remembers the moments in his life when he didn't act, when he allowed situations to pass by because facing the consequences seemed too difficult. There was the time a neighbor asked for help with a broken-down car, and Mark, swamped by his own problems, chose to stay inside instead of offering a hand. Or the time a colleague at the shop needed a place to stay during a tough time, but Mark turned his back, not wanting the emotional toll of someone else's struggles. In those moments it was easier to turn away. Now standing in front of the duffel bag, Mark feels the weight of his past decisions, and his guilt. He knows this is different. He can't just walk away, but the fear of how this will affect his future grips him. What will happen if he reports the money? What if it puts him in danger? What if it's too late for him to turn back? A memory flashes through Mark's mind, back when he was a younger man, full of hope. He remembers helping a friend, a mechanic from a nearby town, fix his old car without asking for anything in return. Mark had given that friend the best of his abilities, just as he always did, without expecting anything back. That friend later returned the favor, helping Mark through his darkest days after the divorce. He was there when Mark's world was falling apart, when every piece of his life felt like it was breaking. That memory grounds him, giving him clarity. Mark knows what it feels like to have someone help without expecting anything in return. He has the chance to be that person again, to offer help where it's most needed, just as he once received it. As Mark stands there, the sound of the rain pounding against the roof fills the silence, and his heart pounds in his chest. Just as he's about to make his decision, the door to the garage creaks open. The stranger is back. Mark's pulse spikes. Did the man notice the duffel bag? Is he aware that Mark found the money? His mind races as the stranger steps inside, his face drawn with worry. It's a moment of pure tension, one that could either lead to Mark doing the right thing, or letting the whole situation spiral out of control. The stranger's eyes meet Mark's, and for a moment, it feels like everything stops. The man doesn't say anything right away, but there's a heaviness in his gaze. Mark's heart pounds in his chest as he waits for what comes next. Then the stranger speaks, his voice calm but filled with a quiet desperation. "I need to tell you something," he says, his hands trembling as he pulls out a picture from his pocket and holds it out to Mark. It's a photo of a young girl, his daughter. Mark realizes instantly. "She's my daughter," the stranger continues, his voice tight with emotion. "The money, it's not mine. I'm being blackmailed by a criminal organization. They have my family. If I don't do what they say, if I don't deliver this money, they'll hurt her. I'm just a pawn in their game. Please," he begs, looking directly at Mark. "I need help. I don't know where else to turn." Mark stares at the photo, then back at the man, his mind spinning. This isn't just a matter of stolen money, or a bad decision. The stranger's life, and the life of his daughter, are on the line. Mark's perspective shifts in that moment, and he realizes that this situation is far bigger, and more dangerous than it first seemed. The money, the car, the secrecy, it all makes sense now. The stranger isn't the one at fault here. He's just caught in a web of danger and manipulation. Mark's heart aches as he understands the gravity of the situation. If he walks away now, if he ignores this man's plea for help, there's no telling what might happen. This man could be killed. His daughter could be hurt. Mark can't let that happen. He takes a deep breath, the weight of the decision settling on his shoulders. For the first time in years, Mark feels a surge of purpose. This is no longer just about fixing cars or helping a stranger. This is about doing what's right, even when it means risking everything. Mark looks the stranger in the eye, his voice firm. "I'll help you. We'll get this fixed. You're not alone in this." With the decision made, Mark and the stranger begin to hatch a plan. It's risky, dangerous, even, but it's the only way to take down the criminal organization and keep the stranger's family safe. Mark thinks fast, using his connections from the past, including a former police officer he once helped with a car repair. The officer owes him a favor, and agrees to help them anonymously expose the organization to the authorities. Mark and the stranger go over every detail of their plan, making sure they cover all their bases. Mark's mind races as they talk strategy, how to get the information to the right people, without putting themselves directly in danger. It's a fine line they're walking, but Mark knows it's the only way forward. As the plan starts to take shape, a moment of doubt creeps into Mark's mind. What if this backfires? What if they're caught in the act? Could they both be in over their heads? But instead of backing out, as he might have done in the past, Mark chooses to push through the fear. He's made his decision, and now there's no turning back. The plan is set into motion, and Mark feels something shift inside him. The fear still lingers, but so does a deep sense of resolve. He's going to see this through. The plan works. Slowly but surely, the criminal organization begins to unravel, its members arrested one by one. The stolen money is recovered, and the threat to the stranger's family is neutralized. Mark and the stranger remain safely out of the public eye, their identities protected, but the relief is palpable. For Mark, the weight that's been hanging over him for so long lifts. Helping someone, putting himself at risk for a good cause, gives him back something he thought he'd lost: his integrity. He's reminded of the values he once held dear, the ones he thought had been buried under years of regret and hardship. Back in his garage, business picks up. Mark's reputation grows, not just for his skill as a mechanic, but for his honesty and courage. People come to him, not only for repairs, but for advice and support. He's become someone others trust, and that means more than anything. His garage flourishes, and for the first time in years, Mark feels like his life is back on track. Mark's story is a testament to the true power of kindness, the kind of kindness that asks for nothing in return, and does what's right, even when it's hard. Mark's decision to help a stranger, despite the risks, shows that doing the right thing often brings far more than just immediate rewards. It brings growth, self-worth, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. Mark's journey proves that one act of kindness, no matter how small, can change the course of a life. It's not about fame or recognition. It's about making a difference, no matter how difficult or risky that might be. The true value of our actions is measured by the positive impact they have on others and on ourselves. If you found Mark's story inspiring, be sure to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think about Mark's journey and the choices he made. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories of kindness, courage, and personal growth. For more uplifting stories, check out our other videos on acts of selflessness, personal growth, and the incredible power of kindness. Your next great story is just a click away.